Interesting. Oh, okay. Well, that was certainly a game with a lot of free throws and occasionally some good basketball. Thank you. And some not so good basketball. Plenty of stuff to talk about. My wife, I guess, had been a little zoned out for the last few minutes, and she saw me get up to come over here and do this live stream, and said, "Oh, they lost," and said, "I'm sorry." And I said, "No, no, no. We're past the point of having to say I'm sorry when the Knicks lose." I'm not sure when we passed that point exactly. At some point in the last month, I guess. I'm not really sure when. In any case, Knicks do lose. This is now their 15th loss in the last 18 games. The season has long ago slipped away, but still enough to talk about for us. Still some good things, still some not so great things, still some interesting decisions being made by the coach, by the franchise in terms of where to divert their energy, how they're continuing to go for wins. We've seen some adjustments over the last few days, few games at least, in terms of playing time being given to certain players. Although one of the biggest ones, Jericho Sims, I think it's now been revealed that Nerlens Noel is dealing with a plantar fasciitis issue. Is that why he's not playing and Jericho Sims is playing? We don't know what's going on with Taj Gibson. So, you know, but I'm sure that's what most people are going to want to talk about. I know no one's going to want to be happy about Alec Burks playing 34 minutes. I get it. You want to see Cam Reddish play more than 17. You want to say Obi play more than 16. Hell, you want to see Emmanuel Quickly play more than 26. He was awesome tonight. That's probably a good place to start. Some other guys had good games, and we'll talk about them. But I think the only appropriate place to start today is with Quickly. 26 minutes, 5 of 13 from the floor, 3 of 7 from deep, 21 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. You know, I take any good signs from Quickly that I could get. He is still someone I'm incredibly excited about for the franchise moving forward. He is still a guy that I think they are excited about moving forward. I don't think for 1 second they thought about moving on from him at the trade deadline. I think they see him as someone they're going to continue to build with. What is he? What isn't he? Those are less interesting questions for me than just getting to see him play well, play with confidence. He played with a lot of confidence in this game. And as often is the case, I tweeted it out before, when good things happen for the Knicks this season, it's amazing how often Emmanuel Quickly is on the floor for those moments. So good stuff by him today. Again, this was a tie game with I don't know how many minutes left, 6, 7, 8 minutes left. And that was all because of Quickly's energy. They actually took a brief lead. If Cam Reddish could make a three-pointer, I think they would have gone up by 4 or 5 at one point in the middle of the fourth quarter. Wasn't to be, but Quickly played great. And we should say, actually, this was a game that the Knicks led midway through the fourth quarter, in which they obviously had absolutely no answer for Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid was doing whatever he wanted. James Harden was doing whatever he wanted. That's not on Knick defenders. That's on the fact that those two guys are playing at peak level. And when they're playing at peak level, they are both top 10 players in the game. Joel Embiid might be the best player in the game. So, good job by the Knicks to stay in the game. I thought they fought. I thought they played hard. I thought they played sound defense. I thought they did all the things that you want to see a team do as the season is winding down, that are evidence of not quitting, continuing to show fight. Are people going to care about those things in light of the minutes that are being distributed? Probably not, but I think it's worth pointing out. After Quickly, I guess the next guy to go to probably would be RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett obviously did not follow up his career high with as good of a game. Really, really tough to live around the paint against a team with Joel Embiid in the middle. He did what he could. I thought he picked his spots well. I thought his drives were good. I thought his shot attempts were good. I thought he played well, even though he didn't shoot it well. The free throw thing on the bright side, got to the line another 10 times. On the downside, missed another 4. I think he's going to sort out the stuff. Much more important to me is the fact that he is now living at the line. 32 attempts now over the last 2 games. That blows away his previous high in terms of consecutive games, which was 20 over a 2-game stretch at the beginning of his rookie year. So nice game from Barrett. Didn't shoot it well again, but I thought his process was really good and he did what he could. And then, who else do you want to talk about? I guess we can talk about Sims. I thought Sims did yeoman's work, showed himself that he is certainly an NBA player. Not easy to go up against Joel Embiid, but he did what he could. I actually thought he outplayed Mitchell Robinson, not by a significant amount, but I thought he was a little bit better than Mitch. I think it's so refreshing to see a center who can set a hard screen. I also thought he was a little bit more active than Mitch, so great job by Sims. Cam had some flashes. Obi had a couple of nice moments. Missed a couple late that you would have loved to see go down. Would have made it a little bit closer game. And Randall. I mean, what do you say about Randall? Nice numbers. Got to the line 12 times. Ended up with 16 points and 10 rebounds and 7 assists. To me, what he gives you on one end of the court, he takes away on the other end so often. And tonight was one of those games. I thought some of his defensive possessions tonight were quite frankly embarrassing. Fell asleep several times. Doubles with just no purpose. By the way, we just got confirmation Nerlens Noel is indeed dealing with plantar fasciitis, so that's why he's not playing. No word on Taj. Anyway, so yeah, I don't know. What else could we say about Julius Randle that we haven't already said? And Evan Fournier, save the best for last, right? Objectively, he had the best offensive game of anyone on the court. Made a lot of really, really tough shots. Ended up with 24 points on only 16 shot attempts. So good job by him. Hit your free throws, Evan. 0 of 3 from the line. That's about it. I will now move on to the complaint section of the program. As I'm sure there will be many. As there is not a Knicks fan alive, including this one, by the way. Just to be, again, full disclosure, no one wants to see Alec Burks play 34 minutes. Or, quite frankly, 24 minutes at this point. But it's what you're going to get with a coach who is still trying to win games. And it's a guy that he trusts. It's what happens when you have a solid player on your bench and you're kind of shorthanded, which the Knicks are right now. You're going to see that guy play a lot of minutes because the coach trusts him. Did his trust pay off today? No. Hasn't paid off a lot recently. Hasn't really, paid off for a while. But such is life. Okay. Good Hooper then. Burks has scandalous pictures of Tibbs, right? No, I mean, look, it's not. We've gone over this again and again and again. Did Burks shoot well? No, he hasn't shot well for a while. But Tibbs knows what he gives you on both ends of the floor. He's reliable. He's a more reliable player than I guess who's the alternative option there? Cam Reddish? Or I guess, no, people are going to want to say Deuce. Yeah, well, the Deuce thing is interesting because clearly Tibbs doesn't trust Deuce yet and is going to keep running Burks out there at point guard. Might Deuce be better than Cam? Well, see, that's the problem is anybody who would have a thought about defending Tibbs for not playing Deuce McBride at this point and continuing to run out Alec Burks. I hope people wouldn't mind if like Burks was still playing 20, 24 minutes a game as a swingman. It's what he should be doing. And they were giving Deuce these minutes at point guard. Would Deuce be better? Would Deuce be worse? Here's the problem. We don't know. And with every additional game they lose, if you're Tom Thibodeau, you're going to open yourself up to the same criticism game after game after game after game, which is that, like, look, the team has lost 15 of 18 games. They are, by all accounts, out of it. But even if, like, they weren't out of it, like 15 of 18 is 15 of 18, might it be time to try something different? I would imagine that Tibbs, if you gave him some truth serum, would probably say something along the lines of, we are trying something different. We shut down Kemba Walker. We're going to give quickly more minutes at the point, which they did tonight. Went okay. They could have used the point guard down the stretch. Certainly could have used the point guard in the second quarter when they were throwing the ball everywhere left and right. And those are the minutes that you watch and you say, like, Deuce McBride can't be worse than this. a team had, what did they have, 8 turnovers in a 5-minute stretch or something like that, something obscene. Like, if you drafted the kid, like, that's the time where you have to put him in. If not, then when? Um, because what's going on right now is not producing results, and like whether it's the right decision or the wrong decision, it is a losing decision. Um, to say nothing of the fact that you should probably be prioritizing playing younger players at this point. Um, Hannibal Miles, what's going on, Hannibal? Would have loved to see McBride guard Harden, go KFS. Yeah. Thanks, Hannibal. Yeah, I would have loved it too. Would have given him a chance. I mean, it's tough to put a rookie on James Harden. I don't care who the rookie is. I would have liked to see that as well. Would it have made a difference in terms of the winning or losing this game? I don't think so. Joel Embiid won this game for the Sixers. They're really good. They're probably going to win a championship this year. So, brace yourself for that. But yeah, I would have loved to see that as well. Kevin Danishevsky, what's going on, Kev? I don't want Tibbs to lose his job. You're in the minority at this point. But riding Alec Burks the way he does is a one-way ticket to the ESPN booth. Stellar game from RJ despite the shots. Yeah, I agree. I thought the process, like I said, from RJ was really good. Yeah, I mean, look, the one thing I can't speak to is how on board or not on board the front office is with him continuing to play Burks at point, hold Deuce out, maybe not give quickly a starting gig. I have no idea. I wish I could speak to that. I would imagine that there are some folks in the front office that would very much like to see Deuce get these minutes. If Tibbs thought that doing this was going to lose him his job, would he still be doing it? Probably not, which is why I have to think that there is at least, tacit approval from the front office in terms of what's been going on. But that's an assumption. I don't know that for a fact. In any case, yeah, I mean, again, Burks playing 34 minutes isn't what's going to lose Tibbs his job. Losing 15 out of 18 games and probably another 4, 5, 6 out of 7 or 7 out of 8 or whatever is going to happen over these next 2 weeks. That's what's going to lose Tibbs' job. And I think he is going to lose his job at this point. Robert Cross, what's going on, Robert? Good to hear from you. First time, long time, John. Thanks for chiming in. Tibbs overusing Burks all season has done nothing for his development. I like that. Yeah, I think they've developed Burks about as much as they can. Maybe give someone else a shot. Anthony Sixto, what's going on, Anthony? The Knicks took the lead late. Then some of the most shameless officiating. Okay, we have an officiating complaint here. I'm here for that. Not sure what you could do with 2 centers fouled out, Randall playing with 4 and having to defend 6 possessions in a row of free throws. I mean, that's Joel Embiid and James Harden. I think there is an argument that Joel Embiid and James Harden are the 2 most difficult players to officiate in the league today. The only egregious call I thought was and it's the one that got Tibbs teed up at the end of the third quarter, was absolutely a foul on I forget who it was. It was a Korkmaz who pushed quickly out of bounds. I thought that was a foul. But Joel Embiid's going to get these calls. He's been getting these calls since he entered the league. To me, this isn't a blame the officials loss. This is a Joel Embiid and James Harden are really freaking good loss. And the Knicks don't have a point guard or a guy who can play make with any consistency from the perimeter loss. Yeah, is what it is. Ryan Hoang, what's going on, Ryan? Excited to see Ivy with these young guys soon. Yeah, I guess we should probably start having a daily tankathon update, right? That seems only fitting. I was looking at it this morning. I don't see any way who knows. At this point, I figure they're going to be 7th in the lottery standings, although maybe they move down to 6. It's just like the Kings. How many more games are the Kings winning this year? I don't like that things aren't going too well there. The Knicks are 3.5 games behind the Kings. And the Pacers. The Pacers, like the Knicks and the Pacers are 5 games apart. Like, are the Pacers really going to win 5 more games than the Knicks from here on out? I don't know. I think you're going to wind up 6 would be. I'd sign for 6 right now. I think it's probably going to be 7, but I'd love to see Ivy too. I like Ivy. Kevin Danishevsky with one more. I'm kind of tired of people saying the Knicks front office has done nothing when they pushed all the right buttons last year, picked IQ Grimes at 25 plus Sims and Rokas. No, they haven't done. I think they drafted well. The Walker thing blew up in their face, and I wrote it last week, or maybe the previous week. I don't know. It's all running together, but I think the beginning of the end for Tibbs this season was the day they signed Kemba Walker. Tibbs didn't want Walker, didn't want to play him, didn't want to try to make it. Well, I shouldn't say that. He tried to make it work, and his way to try to make it work was to try to get Julius Randle to play more unselfishly and to try to get Julius Randle to change his game. And in doing so, kind of sent Randle off the deep end, or at least in part. I don't know why else Randle went off the deep end. But everything was set up by the Walker signing. And that's on the front office because clearly they wanted him. Although at the same time, like, how are you going to say no to that? Hometown kid, not that far removed from good play. He's just, they couldn't help that he's just so unhealthy. But the front office also has to own the fact that they didn't go hard after Alonzo Ball at the trade deadline. They have to own the fact that they didn't go after DeMar DeRozan this summer. They have to own the fact that they threw a lot of money at Evan Fournier, and Evan Fournier, although this is what Evan Fournier is, doesn't mesh with this team. And especially once you added Kemba Walker, it doesn't mesh with this team. The front office has to own all that stuff. They've been an average front office on the whole since they took over. I think you need to give them a three solid years to figure out what they really are. Give them a chance to bring that elusive star in. But time's running out. The season's not a good look. They have drafted well though, so we'll see what they do this summer. Look, again, a season that has gone as sideways as this, nobody escapes blame. Danny Gardner, what's going on, Danny? Great to see you, man. I wanted the Knicks to lose that game, but geez, the Sixers are annoying to play against. I would have liked the Knicks I'm still rooting for wins. I'm such a glutton for punishment. Liked a lot that we saw from RJ and quickly. Agreed. Game ended when RJ had the beautiful pocket pass to Randle and he blew it. That was such a nice pass. It was such a nice pass. And Randle, I don't know what you say about Julius Randle at this point that hasn't been said. Is he 6 for 30 over the last 2 games? Did he take 15 shots today? I know he was 2 for 15 in the last game. Oh, he's 4 of 13. So he's 6 of his last 28 from the field. It's not great, Bob. Jason, what's going on, Jason? Burks coming back in is the type of decision that has ruined the season. Playing vets over younger players that have earned their minutes. # fire Tibbs. Again, I don't have any at this point. I have no leg to stand on in terms of defending Tibbs. He hasn't coached well this year. The one leg I have left to stand on to a certain extent is that I don't think put any other coach in the seat tonight, the Knicks aren't winning that game. If he kept Burks out and kept in and put in, I don't know, Reddish, Toppin, Deuce, whoever name anybody. I don't think the Knicks are winning that game. The Knicks don't have a playmaking point guard, which when it gets to the last 5 minutes of a game and teams like the Sixers are okay, we got to wake up and actually play defense now. The Knicks have nothing to do other than give the ball to Barrett, and they were keyed in on Barrett completely. So they weren't going to let Barrett beat them. So I don't think putting Burks back in lost them the game. Did it help? No, it didn't help. Burks had a great corner 3 that missed. If he makes that shot, Tibbs maybe looks a little bit smart. But he didn't. Didn't help, and, we'll see if Tibbs survives. Probably isn't going to. At least he finished the game quickly. Thank God for that. Forgotten NYC. Not sure who I want gone more, Tibbs or Randle. I know who I want gone more. Guy Huber, then. For a coach trying to still win games, he sure does make some game decisions that have lost him 14 of 17 games. Very interesting. Yeah, exactly. You're Guy Huber. You're spot on. If he's trying to win games and he's making decisions to win games, he's doing a shitty job of it because they're not winning. You know, I don't think anything he could have done today or Friday or in some of these other games make a difference. But like, can you point to things he did or didn't do in the games where they blew big leads? Absolutely, you can. You know, those are games where again he trusted his guys and he shouldn't have. Should have gone a different direction. And who knows where the season would be now if they had maybe not completely fallen apart at the end of the first half of the season or before the All-Star break. And there's been other games too. Jessica, what's going on, Jessica? Good to see you as always. Shout out to Ray for his great newsletter contributions this week. Yes, shout out to Ray Marcano. Very happy to have been able to publish those in the newsletter this week. Great stuff looking back in an important period of Knicks history in the late 70s, 79-80 season when the Knicks were the first team to have an all-black roster. They weren't a great team, but they weren't a bad team either. And it's something that is not celebrated, and especially this being Black History Month, we should probably celebrate that a little bit more. Was thrilled to print that, was thrilled that Ray could write that. And for anybody who hasn't checked those out, I strongly encourage you to do so. Also, a shameless plug for my write-up of Nat Sweetwater Clifton, who was the first Black player to sign an NBA contract. And he signed that contract with the New York Knicks. And he was very good, made an all-star team with the Knicks, very underappreciated, underrated, and under-discussed player in Knicks history. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that stuff up, Jessica. Continuing your comment, I highly recommend subbing to the newsletter. Thank you. Lost IQ, finding his way home. Another fun Star J performance. Yeah, any good stuff from the young players is going to put a smile on my face. I love what we're seeing from RJ. Love what we saw from Quickly. Love what we saw from Sims. Some good moments from Reddish. That's what you got to latch onto at this point with this season. Robert Cross, again, back for more. John, is it fair and reasonable to say, I don't like where this is going. We found something in Sims. If so, perhaps we should aim to acquire 7 more second-round draft picks. Well, they have 1 billion second-round picks coming up in 223 and beyond. Yeah, they found something in Sims. He's an NBA player. He's probably, a backup center, but he could set a hard screen. He could jump really high. He could snatch a rebound. He's strong. He could catch a lob. Not as good as Mitchell Robinson. He's not as good an offensive rebounder as Mitchell Robinson, but he could, he's a guy that as a rim running dive man, I think he's an NBA player, which is great. That's all you could want at the 58th pick. Hell, that's you sign for that with the 28th pick. And yeah, I'm excited to see where Sims goes from here. Certainly glad he's getting time, and I'm a little upset the fact that he's getting time is only because Noel may be on the shelf. I never want to see Noel play another game for the Knicks, so I hope we keep getting a lot of Sims minutes. Kevin Danishevsky back for one more. As I mentioned during halftime, what's confusing me is that Tibbs is the reason Deuce is here. What is Tibbs seeing that could be worse than point guard Burks? I have no idea. If I had an answer to that question, I don't know. I don't know what I'd be. Probably not doing anything much different than I am now. No, I don't have an answer for that question. I don't know why we're not seeing Deuce. I've been saying for weeks I would very much like to see Deuce. I don't know what is not being done behind the scenes, is not, what is not being accomplished in practice. Because, and I said this during halftime, if Tibbs thought Deuce could help him win games, I think he'd be playing them. He'd be playing him. So he trusts Burks more. Burks hasn't rewarded his trust. It's as simple as that. And he's making him look horrendous in the process. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? How insufferable was Brooklyn? Harden literally looks like a completely different player. Randall is the most least clutch player in the league. Seriously. I hope he gets traded. Praying every day. Need more Cam. Harden is this is what Harden always has been. He powdered his way out of Houston. He powdered his way out of Brooklyn. I don't think it's anything to do with Brooklyn. I think it just has to do with James Harden. He's a guy I'm very happy I never had to root for. I would never want to root for him. But Sixers might win a championship this year, and they are certainly not going to mind rooting for him. So, as for Randall, like, I don't know. I'm very quickly getting to the point where if Randall is on the team to start next season, I'm going to be disappointed in the offseason. I am ready to move on, come what may. He is such a frustrating player to have to watch, and I'm just over it. Last year was magical. We'll always have last year. He played so hard on defense. Um, that player is gone and replaced with a guy that has shown flashes on offense, but again, very clearly is a guy that functions better on offense when he has the ball in his hands. And I don't think we have any evidence from this year that he's ever going to be able to be a really hopeful offensive player without the ball in his hands a majority of the time. And oh, by the way, when he had the ball in his hands a majority of the time most of this year, he sucked then too. So, yeah, I'll make a deal with all of you. I would sign off on Tibbs being gone if they could trade Randall, and everybody gets what they want. How about that for a trade? Dom Cappuccini, what's going on, Dom? My wife was worried too that I was setting myself up to be angry when turning the game on. Not no more, hun. I look forward to see more Sims going forward. RJ is the leader at this point. That's probably my favorite part about the RJ thing is like it is so clear that this is his team now. It's so obvious. And that's great. That's what needed to happen this year. And we could go back and forth about all the things that have gone wrong and how far that this season has set the team back as far as, their reputation around the league. Obviously, they're gonna get a new coach at some point. It'll probably be Johnny Bryant. He seems to be well liked. That'll probably help their reputation. Johnny Bryant seems like a guy that young players or stars around the league may want to come and play for. So that's encouraging. But more important than any of that, RJ is the guy, and RJ needed to become the guy this season, and he's the guy. And he looks the part. Not to be the guy on a great team, but to be the guy right now. And I think, unlike Randall, I have full confidence that RJ is going to be able to be a damn good number 2 someday to some, star level player, the right type of star level player. And I'm not sure who that is. Although there's a guy in New Orleans that I know is very divisive, but wouldn't mind seeing him get the shot. Robert Cross back for more. Love you, Robert. First time, long time, John. This is a great bit. I love that this is the bit that has replaced hashtag 53 wins as we head to 53 losses. Do the Knicks make it a priority to move Randall in the offseason? Some pros and cons here. I don't think they make it a priority. I just think they're going to listen to offers, and if they get an offer they like, they're gonna move him. I think that the difference is that again, it'll probably be with a new head coach, and I think we know that Tibbs, if he has had input, my guess is that Tibbs has been like, if you're trading Randall, you're getting me a star back. Now, is that still going to be a hard and fast rule? Like, would they trade Randall for an interesting young player, and like future picks or something? Like, that's the question we don't know. And I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, like, I pitched my fake, Portland trade in which we'd be getting back Anthony Simons. Like, if I'm Portland, I would never do that. I would never give away Anthony Simons for Julius Randle. But you never know. And the sign and trade would be a little complicated because of salary matching rules, but there's a way to get it done. Maybe the Sixers, and there's just been some news now about Dame looking to come back for the maybe the late stretch run. Like, maybe they're all in on Dame, and maybe with Dame there, they don't want to pay Anthony Simons, $20 million a year or whatever it's going to take because he's a restricted free agent. So, like, that's a deal that I think the front office would love to make. Does it mean it's going to be a priority for them? I think they're going to take every deal on its face. And we'll see. Drew P, what's going on, Drew? Looking at RJ's 2022 stats, what will they offer him? Oh, I think I said this on a recent post game. I'll say it again. I think he's a max now. He's a max. Day one, midnight, whatever, max. End of conversation. And God knows his agent, like that's the demand. There is no negotiation. Maybe there's negotiation on, like, is there an option in the 5th year? Do they get a team option on the 4th year or on the 5th year? Probably not. Is it do they give a player option on the 5th year? I don't know if the Knicks would do that. But this is a league where John Collins is getting paid $25 million a year. So, Mikal Bridges is getting paid, $20+ million a year. And I understand that there are people out there, and those people might have a point, that Mikal Bridges is still a more useful player to like a contending team than RJ Barrett. But whatever. It doesn't matter. RJ's getting the max, and he should. So yeah. Hush Zoo, what's going on, Hush? Tibbs is doing a great job, a great tank job, leaving us with a high draft pick before his firing. Honestly, I respect him for that. I don't think that's why he's doing what he's doing, but it is working. Robert Cross, I saw Cutlets wrote a nice piece for the Strickland. I have been on vacation, as you know, so I did not catch that yet. I look forward to reading that, though. Do you think GMAC can sign him to an extension? Or should the KFS community be concerned here? I don't know. We'll have to. I'm supposed to get on for a podcast. I think you're talking about Jeremy Cohen. I don't even know. Maybe you're talking about Benji. Whoever you're talking about. I feel confident in the fact that KFS will retain its talent. But you never know. It's always scavengers out there. Forgotten NYC. Noting that we play Philly again on Tuesday, I think I'll pass. Thank you, Max Cyril, for your contribution. And here's your comment. Not too long ago, we would have been talking about how this was such an encouraging game for RJ. Very true. We've actually, I think, become a little spoiled. Hope he can string some more together. Now it's ho-hum, not a great performance. That's my positive takeaway. It's the best takeaway that I've heard so far today in the chat. I love that you pointed that out. Once upon a time, it would have been like, 24 points, 22 shots, a lot of shots to get to 24 points, but some really nice moments, some really good drives. Got himself, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, 12 free throws or 10 free throws. Now it's like, it's expected. This is what he is now. So that's great news. It is great news. Thank you, Andrew. Andrew just, and Andrew says all future Jeremy years are team options. Thank God for that. So yeah, I look forward to reading Jeremy's. I'll give a shameless plug here. What is the Leon Rose-led Knicks process, and is it too soon to judge it fully? I think I have a guess as to what the process is, and I would agree that it is too soon to judge it fully. Kevin Danishevsky with one more here. The DeRozan thing reeks of hindsight bias. Kevin made sense at the moment, was low risk. They haven't done anything bad long term. The best young core we've had in a while. I agree, but when you're a front office person and you're a coach, that's how you're judged. If your decisions don't work out, you're the one that made the decision. I think some decisions are more reasonable than others. I, for one, argued that they should have gone in on DeRozan last year. I think I would not have gone the number that Chicago went, but lo and behold, that was a good decision by them. Like, you have to be judged by that harsh standard. What I think is the more interesting question is, like you point out here, that they haven't done anything bad long term. Like, sadly, you could kind of say the same thing about Steve Mills after the Timmy signing, or I guess once Scott Perry came aboard, the Mills-Perry combo, like, they didn't do anything bad long term. I think we have to get to a place, and JB always loved to point this out. and people got on him for it. I think we have to start judging our front offices here by a different standard than, you know, did they Isaiah Thomas this thing, you know? And they certainly haven't done that, and they have drafted well, and there's been a lot of good stuff here. It is low risk stuff, but at the same time, like, whether they were responsible for it or not, they had a great thing going here last year. And, you know, some people will blame this season all on Tibbs and I guess Randall, and that's fine. But like, I think if you're the front office, you have to own the fact that all those good vibes are gone. So I think they can be judged a little harshly. Although I'm still a proponent of them, and I'm still excited to see, you know, what they do. Alex, do you think there's any chance Tibbs and Leon Rose are on the same timeline when it comes to their job security? After all, Tibbs was Leon's guy. I think Leon is safe. So no. I don't think they're on the same timeline. I think it'll be a bad look if Leon fires his guy. But you know, like, when's the last GM who got to go through like more than two coaches? I guess it's been a while. Far enough back that I can't remember who the hell it was. Like, typically, if you're the president or the GM or whatever you want to call Leon Rose, like, you're not if like he fires Tibbs, then whoever the coach is at that point, you know, assuming he either makes Johnny Bryant the permanent guy, or he hires someone else this offseason, which I'd be shocked. I think it's going to be Bryant. Like, he's probably not getting another bite at the apple, especially since, you know, Dolan has an itchy finger, and Dolan has powerful friends who like to talk to him and tell him your team should be doing better than this. So, you know, I would think that they're not on the same timeline, but like, Leon's clock definitely starts the day he fires Tibbs, or the day Tibbs steps down, or whatever bullshit they say when, you know, he is no longer the coach of this team. Gia Frass 22. Do you agree with Tibbs that Alec Burks starting and having a big role gives them the best chance to win now? If not, what is your ideal rotation going forward? It's a great question. And I will deflect an answer, and then I'll give my answer. My deflected answer is going to be the same thing I always give, which people are tired of hearing, which is that I think whatever Tibbs is seeing behind the scenes, whatever Tibbs is seeing in practice, is informing him about the decision more than anything else. So do I think there is logic to having Burks be the starting point guard? Yeah, I think there is logic to it. Do I think it's the best decision? I'm judging it against an unknown. I'm judging it against what? I'm judging it against a kid in Deuce McBride who we've seen play, you know, I don't know, 100 meaningful NBA minutes, if that, maybe 60, 70. So, like, you're asking me a question where I don't have the information, which is why my default is always like, you trust the guy that has been proven to be good at his job, that has all of the information. The quickly part of it's a little bit more interesting to me, and as was the Kemba part. I thought it was insanity that he kept running Kemba out there. And it's still the question that I have, and it's still something that I have no idea why he kept doing it. And I wonder still whether it has to do with locker room stuff and other factors and this, that, and the other thing, or whether he was just like, I need a guy who has point guard experience. But whatever that was, that I don't think was the right decision. Do I think Burks continuing to start over a guy like Quickly is a better move? If you're asking me what I would do if I was running the organization, yeah, I would give Quickly a shot at the starting point guard position. Would it be better or worse? I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. But I know I want to give Quickly those minutes. I know I want to see how he does with them. Because he's the future of the team and Alec Burks is not. So, but like, I don't know, like, that there's at the same, like, you see a Burks led unit give the ball away and throw the ball and kick the ball around the fucking court for half a quarter there in the second quarter, and like nothing could be worse than that. So it's not working. My ideal rotation going forward, I think I mapped it out in a newsletter, but I would play Deuce, play quickly, play all the kids, give Randall 25, 30 minutes a game, give Fournier 25 minutes a game if he wants. I'd shut down Rose. Actually, no, I don't know if I'd shut down Rose. I might run Rose out there for 15 minutes a game just to play with Toppin. So I guess what would my ideal rotation be going forward? I'd probably start Deuce alongside RJ, Cam, Randall, Mitch. Play Sims off the bench alongside Obi, Grimes, quickly, and who did I forget? I guess we could still play Fournier. So start Fournier and shut down Burks. That would be my ideal rotation moving forward. Juan Cruz, thanks for the contribution. Guy Huber, then. Conspiracy time. They haven't committed to starting a young point guard in the fear that they don't want to yank him after getting the splash that they've been looking for in a trade or free agency at that position. I don't. That's a little bit too far for me. I just think they don't trust these kids to run point guard. But I could be wrong. Who knows? Alex, what's going on, Alex? Again, thanks for the contributions. RJ loves the game, is unselfish, and has a very high basketball IQ. Unlike someone else, I wonder who you could be talking about. I don't worry about him only playing hard and smart for a contract. Neither do I. I think the whole, built for this thing with RJ and New York and being a Knick is legit. I think he was made to play under these lights, as Tibbs has said. Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo intimated it the other night. I think they're right. I don't have any fears with RJ whatsoever. I don't know if other people said that RJ, that they are worried about that for RJ, but Forgotten NYC. What do you make of the Papa report about Donovan? I'll be honest, if it was an explicit report that was something along the lines of that, I don't know. If someone wants to pop it in the chat, let me know. But I haven't seen anything explicit. My understanding of the Donovan Mitchell situation is just the same thing that's been kind of fluttering about, which is that every Knicks fan should be rooting for a first round Utah Jazz exit. But yeah, I'll Andrew, can you pin my last comment? That's well, let's see. Someone must have it. If you could refer to it in the chat, then I'll be happy to comment on it. But I have not seen it. So, but generally on Donovan Mitchell, I think he's not long for Utah, and he's going to get out at some point. And I think the Knicks will be on his list, and I think they want him desperately. Okay, here's Jason's comment. We got to talk about Obi and Randall playing together. It worked tonight. Not a good look for Tibbs. Yeah, I thought it worked pretty well. They obviously didn't have any rim protection when they're in there, but again, you're preaching to the choir. I've been wanting to see that combination since training camp. It's not a great look for Tibbs. I don't disagree with that one bit. But there's a lot of not great looks for Tibbs this season, which is why I said 6 weeks ago, or whatever it is, 5 weeks ago, when we did midseason report cards, that's why I gave Tibbs a C. Don't think he's been a good coach this year. But my issues have been that he is the reason for why they are losing. That's where I kind of differ. All right. I don't think anybody's putting the Popper report in there. I will take a look at it and I will comment on it on the podcast with Jeremy that we are recording. I think in like an hour or a half an hour. I don't know, Andrew. I forget when we're supposed to record. I know we're supposed to record soon though, so that's good. Anyway, I will see y'all again in a couple days when we lose another game to the Sixers. But until then, enjoy what's left of your weekend and talk to you soon. Peace out.